Hello, I'm Fred Cusero, the Community Recreation Director for the City of Coral Gables. May 25th is Memorial Day. On Memorial Day, the city holds a remembrance event and ceremony to honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. This is an important ceremony and one that we need to continue. However, due to the world pandemic of COVID-19, all events and ceremonies in the City of Coral Gables have been suspended until further notice. So in place of our traditional ceremony, we will continue our tradition of remembrance with a virtual presentation from the city to honor our fallen soldiers. Singing the national anthem, please welcome Lauren Stewart, a student from Vanderbilt University.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now, I would like to introduce the mayor of the City of Coral Gables, Raul Valdez Fowley.
This is a very significant day in the history of our country and in our lives. Decoration Day, as it was called initially, Memorial Day now, the last Monday in the month of May. And we celebrate, we commemorate, we give thanks for the lives of those that gave up their lives for our country and for us, for our liberties, for our democracy, and for everything we enjoy today. It is a very significant day, and I wish everybody to keep in mind the people who sacrificed for us. We are living in a difficult time, seclusion, COVID, and coronavirus, and we have taken sacrifices, few sacrifices, but we have sacrificed for the living. We have closed businesses, we have caused economic sacrifice in order to keep people alive. We also have to remember then those that gave up their lives for our freedom, for our country, since the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea War, Vietnam War, etc. And we should be grateful, and we should think about those heroes that gave up their lives for us.
And now, reading the proclamation of Memorial Day, Commissioner George Force.
Hi, this is Commissioner George Force. First of all, I hope that all of you are staying safe and faring well during the ongoing pandemic. I'm confident, like many of you, that we're going to emerge from this stronger than ever. I also want to remind everyone to stay safe as we go into week 2 of the city's reopening phase. But although today's Memorial Day is a little different than what we're used to in past years, we still stop to take a pause to remember those men and women of the armed forces who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. For that reason, it's my pleasure to read today the City of Coral Gables proclamation for Memorial Day. Whereas, 3 years after the Civil War ended on May 5th, 1868, the head of an organization of Union veterans, namely the Grand Army of the Republic, established Decoration Day as a time for our nation to decorate the graves of those soldiers fallen from the war with flowers, resulting in a declaration by Major General John A. Logan that Decoration Day should be observed annually on the last Monday in May. Said day was chosen because flowers would be in full bloom all over the country. And whereas, the first large observance was held that same year in Arlington National Cemetery, across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C., which centered around the mourning-draped veranda of the Arlington Mansion, once the home of General Robert E. Lee. With various Washington officials, including General and Mrs. Ulysses S. Grant, presiding over the ceremonies, followed by children from the Soldiers and Sailors Orphan Home and GAR, making their way through the cemetery, strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves alike, thereby reciting prayers and singing hymns. And whereas, in 1966, Congress and then President Lyndon B. Johnson declared Waterloo, New York as the birthplace of Memorial Day, commemorated with a momentous ceremony honoring those local veterans who had fought during the Civil War. Businesses were closed and residents flew flags at half-staff. It was not until after World War I, however, that the day was expanded to also honor those who had died in all of our American wars. Thus, in 1971, Memorial Day was declared a national holiday by an act of Congress and placed on the calendar as the last Monday in May, as were some other federal holidays. And whereas the Coral Gables War Memorial Youth Center is the outgrowth of such a tireless spirit and constant drive by our civic leaders determined to honor the youth who served during World War I with a living memorial. And whereas the old Youth Center, which was on the present site, maintained a curved memorial wall engraved in turquoise stone, which held the names of 1,288 men and women who served during World War II, 30 of whom paid the supreme sacrifice, were marked with 1 star at a dedication which was held on December 7, 1956, after renovations were completed to the Youth Center. The Coral Gables men and women who served in World War II were commemorated with a new war memorial garden monument, culminating in a ribbon cutting and rededication ceremony of the monument held on December 7, 1999, Pearl Harbor Day, and stands today as a living memorial to those veterans of Coral Gables who risked their lives for our American way of life. Now, therefore, the Mayor, along with the members of the Commission, do hereby proclaim May 25th, 2020 as Memorial Day in Coral Gables. In observance thereof, the Mayor has called upon the residents of the City Beautiful to join us in observing Memorial Day and in remembering the importance and significance of this day, and in honoring the men and women who have unselfishly served our wonderful country. Mayor Raul Valdez-Fowley, Vice Mayor Vincent Lago, Commissioner George L. Force Jr., Commissioner Patricia Keon, and Commissioner Michael Mena. Thank you.
And now, a few words and thoughts, in addition to the recitation of In Flanders Field's poem, Vice Mayor Vince Lago.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to stand with us in recognition and honor of all those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in service of our great nation. More than 1.1 million men and women have died in wartime throughout the span of our nation's history. Memorial Day is a chance to reconnect to the genesis of our nation's numerous freedoms and honor those who have lost their lives to defend our great country. Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "Those who have long enjoyed such privileges as we enjoy forget in time that men have died to win them." I would like to take just a moment to recognize all those among us who have served or are currently serving in the U.S. military, as well as those who have lost a loved one in service. We are humbled by your sacrifices, as we know they are great, and we commend that demonstration of courage and strength that you have no doubt shown throughout the most difficult times in our nation's history. I thank you all for joining in today's virtual tribute. I hope you keep our military men and women and their sacrifices they have made close to your heart today and throughout the rest of our year. God bless the United States of America, and God bless those who have shed their blood in defending this great country. And now I have the privilege to recite In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard aim the guns below. We are the dead, the short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Memorial Day, which was originally called Decoration Day, a day of remembrance for those who have died in service of the United States of America. Memorial Day was born out of the Civil War and a desire to honor the fallen. On the first Decoration Day, 20,000 Civil War soldier graves were decorated in remembrance. Memorial Day is now observed in almost every state on the last Monday in May through the National Holiday Act of 1971. The City of Coral Gables revived its Memorial Day ceremony, and this would have been its 5th annual ceremony. So today, we make it a virtual ceremony to continue this tradition. And now, sharing her thoughts and reciting the poem, Freedom is Not Free, Commissioner Pat Keon.
Human history is replete with conflicts, conquests, rebellions, and revolutions. Their onset and outcomes are often marked by national observances, like 4th of July, Independence Day in our country. But Memorial Day is different. Memorial Day is a solemn time of remembrance, not of wars, but of those who have lost their lives fighting in them. Throughout our nation's history, citizen soldiers have been called upon to defend our way of life, to protect and to preserve our freedom and liberty. For the most part, these were ordinary men and women living in extraordinary times. All of them made the ultimate sacrifice, and today we honor them. May they rest in peace and live on in our memories and all the memories of those who follow. I'd like to read a poem to you. It's called Freedom is Not Free by Kelly Strong. She is a young woman who was a senior at Homestead High. She wrote it in 1981 as a tribute to her father. I watched the flags pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so tall, so proud, with his hair cut square and eyes alert. He'd stand out in any crowd. I thought how many men like him have fallen through the years. How many died on foreign soil? How many mothers' tears? How many pilots' planes shot down? How many died at sea? How many foxholes were soldiers' graves? No, freedom is not free. I heard the sound of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered how many times that taps had meant I'm in. when a flag had draped a coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the children, of the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of the sea, of unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom is not free. God bless you all on this Memorial Day. Take care and be well.
And now, with his thoughts and the naming of the fallen soldiers listed in the Coral Gables Youth Center War Memorial, is Commissioner Mike Mena.
Although we're living in unique times right now, there are certain time-honored traditions in the city of Coral Gables that it's important that we continue to respect. Every year, we read the names of Coral Gables residents who gave their life fighting in World War II. Those names are etched on the War Memorial at the Coral Gables Youth Center to honor their sacrifice. Those names are Sergeant Ralph G. Anderson, Second Lieutenant Robert Anthony, Private George L. Back, Second Lieutenant Richard H. Bressler, First Lieutenant Howard F. Carlson, Lieutenant Junior Grade George L. Costner, Torpedoman's Mate 3rd Class George E. DeVere, First Sergeant Fred R. Dolson, Ensign Richard H. Donovan, Sergeant H. W. Elson, First Lieutenant George I. Harris, Second Lieutenant William B. Hart, Captain Harry D. Hendrick, Unknown Rank W. B. Inman Jr., Lieutenant Oliver H. Perry Kennedy, Radioman 2nd Class Thomas G. Miller, Unknown Rank U.S. Army James B. Moole, Ensign Tom C. McGuire III, First Lieutenant Raymond A. Renoir, First Lieutenant Carl D. Richards, Second Lieutenant William H. Robinson, Staff Sergeant Dominic Rossi, Technical Sergeant Whitman Singletary, Private First Class Carl E. Smith, Unknown Rank Mildred A. Spain, First Lieutenant Carl M. Squires, Second Lieutenant John W. Starman, Private Robert D. Turner, Carpenter's Mate 3rd Class Clarence S. Tucker, Technical Sergeant Alfred M. Union, and Private First Class Robert E. Union. This year, as our community is engaged in these difficult times and we work together to work through this global pandemic, it's important that we take the time to honor the sacrifice of those who gave their life in World War II to preserve our freedoms. Thank you, and continue to stay safe.
As a tribute to those who have died for their country, please take a moment as we honor those who have passed in service with the playing of the TAPS composition. On behalf of the City of Coral Gables, thank you to all who serve our country, and we hope to continue this tradition of remembrance back in its proper forum and venue next year. Thank you.